You know, I remember my first animation. I just opened Flash for the first time. Had no idea what any of the buttons did. I clicked, I dragged, smashed the keys, and the result? This little bastard was born. 20 years later, that badly drawn stick man flipping near the bird still lives rent-free in my head. That was the spark that ignited my entire animation career. And now, it's your turn. Let's get to work. Alrighty, welcome. This is Lesson 3. Welcome to Lesson 3. This is where the fun begins. Today we are learning how to use the basic tools and create some characters. First of all, we're going to be drawing a stick man in 2 different styles, and then we're going to be drawing a full-bodied character. Here's the examples. This is stick man number 1. I'll teach you how to create him from scratch, how to move him, all that, and put him, change his colors, all those different poses. Stickman type number 2 is the brush style. You might recognize this character from Animator versus Animation, or Stickman versus Minecraft, and I think it's by Alan Becker. Anyway, he's super talented. And finally, how to draw a full-bodied character. Doesn't have to be Minecraft. It can be absolutely any sort of basic 2D character with outlining. Not that you need outlines, but for today's lesson, I'm going to teach you how. And to make it even more interesting, I'm going to teach you how to shade him. You can see he's got a bit of a shadow there. We might add a highlight, I'm not sure. And then from turning the shading into a colored version like that. I'm going to go through all of it. It's going to be a bit of fun. Take your time. All the boring stuff is over. In the previous lessons, I've gone through all of the tools. If you don't know where they all are, go back and watch lesson 2. That's every tool explained. It is a longer video, goes for about half an hour, but I do explain every single tool, more or less. But this one is more about practical use. So I'm just going to go through each individual character and teach you how to make them from scratch. This episode will be broken into chapters, so feel free to skip through to the part in which you want to learn, though I do believe you should try to create each of these characters yourself alongside this tutorial because it's going to be super slow. I'm going to explain everything in detail basically, so you will understand exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Let's get into it. Time for stickman number 1. Type 1, whatever. This is the classic stickman. This is what I grew up drawing, animating. And first things first, we're going to start with the head, okay? Oval tool. We're going to double check our colors. This is the fill. This is what the middle's going to be. We can, for argument's sake, we're going to make a blue stickman. Okay, so just choose a blue. And this is your line tool. You want to have the same blue, okay? This will be his actual colors. I might change it a little bit darker so you can see the difference, because right off the bat, I'll go red. Right off the bat, as soon as we draw the oval, we want to hold shift. If we hold shift, it will lock in. If we don't hold shift, you're going to have to try to guess for the perfect circle. So hold shift, we want to create a head, okay? Then we change to the arrow tool, or press V, select the head. And you can see down here in the properties, we've got the stroke color. You can see the red. Okay, this is why I changed the stroke or line color to red so you could see it. If it was blue, like the head, you wouldn't see it, but it is there, believe it or not. So Control Z, it's back. What we want to do, I'll just change it back to red, back. Okay, again, we can change the line thickness or the stroke size on the head, just so you know how to do that. We're going to get to that in a second. Let's put it for now at 1. Double click the line, not the head, the line. You can double click the middle of the head, hold shift and deselect the head and then hit delete. Either way, just double click the lines. For argument's sake, let's make just draw some lines all over it. You can see if I change back to the arrow tool and I select just one part of the line tool, it'll only select one individual part. But if I hold shift, I can click all, I can just keep adding to my selection and grab the, oops, I double clicked then. I can just grab those. But if I double click, anything that is the same line property, the same color, the same stroke thickness, it will select it. Now for argument's sake, let's change a couple of these colors to green. If I double click the red, you see how the green is not selected. The same goes for if I grab some of these lines and I make the thickness bigger. Again, double click the red. It won't select these because it's a different property to what I've initially clicked. But I can hold shift, double click, delete. We've got our head. One final other little cheat is select everything. Okay, so right now I have a blue fill with a various bunch of different lines. What I can do is go up to the line or the stroke and choose the color. And if you choose this little part here, this is basically no color. This is basically deletes it. Anything that's a line, it will delete. Okay, it's just, if you can remember that, poof, they're all gone. How bloody good is that? Okay, arrow tool. We want to select the head. Click, drag over a box, whatever. Now what I do is I press Control G. Control plus G, what it does is it just basically takes it away from anything. If I was to draw, so grab the brush tool, and if I was to draw over this, you can see when I select it, it's two separate items. So I can click that. It just means the head, we can draw over the head and everything will be behind it. It's on its own personal layer that it's at the top, okay? I don't know how else to explain it. You can press Control plus B to break it apart. Right click, break apart, Control B, and that will bring it back to where it was normally. Now, if I hit Q, okay, that's the skew, this one here, free transform, we can shape, resize the head to whatever size we want. We'll just go, yep, something like that. That's good. Now we build the body. Now, line tool. What color body? We'll start with green just for the sake of explanations. Change to our properties so we can see it. Right now we have a line stroke of 16. So what does that look like when we draw it? Okay. That's something to work with. Arrow tool. We can grab the corners of this line. But if we try to bend it, you can see how the cursor slowly changes. If I take it away from the corner, it turns into a bend. Then if you click and drag, it's going to bend it. We don't really want to bend it just yet. So keep it in its original spot, because if we bend it and then we try to move it, it's just too hard to work with. I digress. My main point here is we can build a stickman from just one line. Yes, we could go back to the line tool and then just draw the different parts and connect all those. But I want to teach you a fun, smart way of just manipulating lines. This is why the exercise exists. It's more than just a stickman. It's actually learning how to use these tools to your advantage. First things first, I want to turn the magnet, the snap to objects tool on. Okay, it's blue line around it. And now we've got the arrow tool, correct? And this time we're going to hold Control. Control. Okay, now when I hold Control, watch this. Okay, the icon didn't change. I'll hold Control and instead of it bending, it will snap it. See how it's, because I'm holding Control, I can snap it in half. And so what I'll do is I'll drag this up and you can see because we have the magnet tool on, I'm still holding Control, I can snap it to other existing versions of the line. And I keep holding Control. And I keep holding Control. And we now have a stickman. And it's all connected. See when we move the points, the pivot points, the corners of the lines, you've basically got your first stickman. But it doesn't look quite right. We need to give him some elbows, some knees, and maybe even some feet. All right, he's looking a little bit cooler. Now, what happens if we resize this? So double click, use the transform tool, hold shift to keep it in scale, or who cares? We can just move it around, okay? Now it's bigger, but the lines aren't thick enough. Not for my liking anyway. You might want a stickman like this. I do not. So back to the arrow tool, double click. You can see the lines look behind the head. It's not. This head can go anywhere and it won't interrupt the lines. But again, just an example, Control B on the head, and now you see how it breaks apart the lines. That's not good. That's not what we want. Control Z, we'll keep it grouped. Sometimes we can take the snap tool, the magnet tool off now, so we have a little bit more freedom and it's not sort of snapping to the location of the stickman. Okay, looking good, feeling good. Double click the lines. We want to make the lines thicker. Needs to look more like a stickman. This looks pretty good. Now we can change our positioning for the stickman in any way we want. I'll double click this. Let's make him, you can click and drag. You can just choose whatever color you want. Remember the ink drop tool? Anyway, we'll change it to blue. And then using the arrow tool, we can shape him. We won't be animating him today. I'll save that for the next lesson. But for argument's sake, we can move him around into any pose we want. Looks like he's sort of leaping at the other stickman. I sometimes like, depending on how you like to design your stickman, I don't mind bending the body. Just sort of like you've got a spine, it bends. And then yeah, you sort of just play around with it. Is the head too big for your liking? That looks pretty good. Move, 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 move. Again, maybe we'll have a kick to his face. Double click, hold shift, select, bang. You have a stick fight. All right, that's just one frame, okay? But essentially, your stick man is there. You don't have to redraw him every time. You can just manipulate the body and the proportions, make him look sad. Look how easy it is just from posing of how you can change some emotion with the character. Look how sad he looks. Maybe put his hand on his head. Move that out of the way. Oh man, he's down in the dumps. Maybe he's crying. The problem is with stickmen though, is you can't have the lines cross each other. So it's kind of like a bit of a puzzle. So just to show you what it looks like, if I turn on the outline of the layer, this is essentially what we're looking at. If I put that arm over this arm here, you can see, I'll just zoom in a little bit. See how it kind of snaps to the stickman, it sort of breaks. The ways you can do work around that is, I'll turn this off, grab this line, Control G, double click, so it's in its own group up here. And now I can overlay things and you won't really know. It's kind of annoying because you have to go in and out, in and out. But regardless, we know how to build a stick man. Okay, we'll go out, we'll break that. You can even delete that arm, pull it back over, hold control, and then snap it back. And so he's just saying, stop. He's panicking. Okay, I'm wasting time. You can have a lot of fun with these little stick mans. They're very dramatic, very fun. Anyway, that is stickman type number 1. Okay, I hope that all makes sense. If it doesn't make any sense, go into the Discord or comment down below and just tell me what doesn't make sense. I'll try to explain it even better. I'll just quickly reiterate. With the arrow tool, select our guy, hold Alt, click and drag. We've just duplicated this guy. Another way to do that, Control C, Control V, copy, paste. Another fancy one is Control C, and instead of Control V, Control Shift V, and that will actually paste it in the exact same spot. So that can be handy moving down the lines. But speaking of lines, I wanted to change the color of this guy, so double click the lines, move over to this part here, and just click and drag. And then we've got a pink stick man. But wait, we want a pink head. We can go into the head. We can basically grab this fill tool and say we had green. We can click and drag over to the pink. Now we've got pink, the same as the line tool. Double click the head. We're in the group up here, remember. K for bucket, click. Press V for the arrow, double click off, and we are back into the normal drawing. If we double click in, and we can get out by clicking scene 1 or the back button. Okay, stickman number 2. You can see his body is not so crisp, pretty straightforward, pretty basic. Now we've already got blue selected for the brush. Let's use the brush tool. I'll turn off pressure sensitivity for those of you that are using a mouse. And this is literally how you do it. Draw a circle, okay? Best to your ability. Then draw a body. The reason why people like drawing stick people is because anyone can draw a stick people, a stick man, a stick woman, even flip the bird, okay? It's that simple. You can draw it however you want. Now you might not like how skinny he is. You can up the brush thickness. You can draw them however you want. This guy's got a saw back, and then we want to change the color and change the thickness and want to draw, oops, I changed the color of the wrong thing. See how that's the line tool? We're using the brush tool. Change that to black. You can see he's an old man. Put a beard on him. We're just drawing for right now. We're not animating. Have I said that? I've said that a few times. So I'm just drawing over my stuff, my drawings. It doesn't really matter. Scribble, scribble, scribble. I'm having fun. We are creating characters. Let's give him a couple of eyes. Hit the eye tool to get the blue back. Hit the B tool for the brush. I think I want to give him gray eyebrows. Hurrah! Look how much more personality this guy has now. It's that simple, okay? Stickman type number 2, done. You can even change whichever color you want. Let's go pink, color it in pink with the fill tool. Again, the bucket tool is this one here, K for bucket. I won't go into those too much. Okay, Stickman number 1, done. Stickman number 2, done. Full-bodied character. This is where the creativity really shines. We're going to start and reset all of our properties. Line tool can stay that color. It doesn't really matter. We're using the brush tool. I want black, please. I'm going to use the brush tool. I'm going to use pressure sensitivity. I'm going to drag the sizing of my brush to maybe like 16 is good usually. That's not too bad. Yeah, let's go with that. And then we just draw. Now, everyone can draw characters. Anyone can draw characters. Just depends on how good a character drawer you are. I don't know what I'm drawing right now. I'm just sort of making it up as I go. Let's draw something fun, something a little bit different. Thinking. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just letting my hand do the drawing. This could look bad. This is all just the brush tool. Okay. I'm drawing a basic character because just for illustrative purposes, we don't want to go too extreme. It's giving a thumbs up. He's half Minecraft, half hybrid. I didn't like that drawing, that line, so I can press Ctrl Z. That's a thumb. It's meant to be a thumb, not the best. Let's use the eraser. We can make it a little bit more three-dimensional. The idea is we all make mistakes. Yeah, kind of works. He's got pretty big arms. All right, so make sure I maintain the arm proportions for the rest of him. It probably wouldn't hurt to design your character on paper, even if it's a rough scribble before you get started in. I'm going straight ahead into cleanup, but I'll do a more in-depth character design development lesson, I think. Because this basic drawing tutorial is purely for the sake of learning the tools in which you use. So right now we've just drawn that whole drawing just with the brush tool. Brush. Okay, get rid of that. And if we go back to our arrow and then we click and drag, you can see that's our drawing. Now it looks a bit funny when you have it selected. That's okay. We can even use the eraser tool. Give him a few little, wow, he looks happy. He looks great. You can select him. You can play with these tools. I want to make it more smooth. See, it looks like arse. I usually just hit it once, deselect, select again. There you go. You can see if you hit the smooth tool twice in a row, it makes a big jump. You hit it once, watch it, ready? Once, one click, ready? 1, 2, click. It has the smallest improvements. We zoom in. It really sort of cleans up your jaggy lines. Just little thing. All right, cool, done. Who cares? That's just a regular drawing. Black and white, nice. Now let's use the line tool. We could just straight up color this character, just plain. I don't recommend doing this if you plan on shading it, but if you do want to just go and color him, grab some colors, grab the bucket tool, choose whatever colors you want. Let's give him some like yellowy orange eyes. Awesome. I mean, do we want teeth as well? Great. Okay, but that's a bit boring. It's a bit flat. So how do we get the shading effect that we want? I like to keep it white. Okay, then I grab the line tool. Not the line tool per se, but the pencil tool. That's the letter Y, okay? That is, I can't remember where it was on the tools, but it's Y. Y will let you draw with the line tool. You can see that was our last line tool property. Using a really bright, obnoxious color, I usually use red and drag this little slider right down to the bottom. We want like 0.1. Or 1 is fine. You can pre-select some of these defaults. This is hairline, 0.1, and this is just 1. 1 looks like that, okay? It's 1 pixel from 100% zoom. So if we zoom in, Z or Z, zoom in once, let's zoom in twice. It's probably too much. Hold Alt, let's go back 1. Y, letter Y, pencil tool. Now these are my tricks, okay? This is the way that I do things. Now what we're gonna do is imagine our character is 3-dimensional. I know it sounds a little bit fancy, but we're going to imagine where is the light source coming from. Now, to keep things pretty basic, I'm going to put an imaginary sun in the corner here, and it is shining towards our character like this. Okay, so that means all the highlights, so if just this horn or this ear, I guess it's a horn, you could imagine the brightest part of the horn will be on this part, and the darkest part would be kind of like, depending upon how I see the shape, would be that part. So what I'll do is I'll just draw like that. Okay, so this part will be the shadow part. Shadow the Hedgehog. Sorry. Yeah, that looks good. And now we'll keep going. Now I think I'll put a little bit of shadow from the head behind the horn, and then I can continue the horn shadow, which will be something like that. And then I can use the arrow tool, V, click, delete that, delete that, delete that. You don't have to. It's just if you want to sort of really get an idea. You can put a little X for everywhere you're going to shade if you want to get fancy. I'm just going to go through and choose the shadow locations because again, the sun's coming that way. That can be shading. His teeth are on the inside of his mouth and his lips. So, those will be all shading in there. I know that, so you don't have to put an X everywhere. It's just a way to sort of keep track of what's going on. Eyeshadow, the eyes inside or are they bulging out? Doesn't really matter for this case. Let's just do something a little bit fun. You can see that, you'll see in a second. Hold spacebar to navigate through your stage. Might be a little bit of shadow there. I usually do this stuff second nature because I've just been doing it for so long. But practice makes perfect. And you don't want to go too extreme as well with your shading if you plan on animating the character, but it's completely up to you. It's completely up to you. You can see that's going to be shadow. That's going to be shadow. Don't need those. Just helping you see what I'm doing. Shadow there. Yeah, cool. Arm will cast and the head will cast a bit of a shadow. And a little bit of body shadow there. Let's just put that one like that. A little bit of shadow. Oh, it will have minor issues like that sometimes. Why is it doing that? Okay, bugger. I'll hold control. I'll turn to my arrow tool and I'll just play with it. See, sometimes just, now it's doing it again. You son of a gun. You know what? Two can play at this game. There we go. So I just had to draw the part of the brush I wanted to delete. You can even change to the arrow tool and go, oh, that line didn't look like how I wanted to. Remember how we're manipulating lines before? We can do that with the shadow as well. If it's not quite right, every little accent will add. But again, like I said, it's completely up to you with how detailed you want to go with this, because the idea of frame by frame animation, you have to animate the shade frame by frame as well. Okay, that looks great. Now, for argument's sake, we can quickly change our color to a dark gray, and then we'll start clicking with the bucket tool of all the shadow parts. Click and drag over the area. Don't go over the edge like that. Hold control, click the one you don't want, delete. Click, 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 space, click, 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 click. Awesome, looking good, looking good. Now, again, you can press Control A, go to the lines. We don't want the lines anymore. Hit that little cross button, gone. All the lines are gone. Control Shift A, by the way, is deselect everything. But that's our guy. All right, looks a bit funny. That's all right. We want to go back because I want to add more, just to make it a little bit more fancy for you. Back to our pencil tool. Y again. I'm going to keep reminding you. Let's change this one to green now. Now, these are going to be the highlights. So the highlights are never on the shadow. Just so you know, the shadow is the dark spot of the shape, and the green will represent the highlight. And we can keep these super duper subtle. Draw nice and slowly, nice and slowly. That looks good. Nice and slowly, nice and slowly. And here's a quick hot tip for you guys. Let's go press I for the ink drop. These highlights, quote unquote highlights on the eyeballs, they shouldn't be in that position. Because the sun is up here, what we can do is we'll use the brush tool. We'll grab the color white, and the highlight should be from the sun. So it should be on the left of the pupil. and they'll just give it more of a realistic, all the lighting from the character is coming from the left, his right. But if you were to do something like this, it just doesn't make sense. You can see how like it looks like the reflection of the eyes is coming from this side instead of this side. So that's what it's just a little pro tip. You can add as many highlights as you want. Technically, there's one light source for this. So the idea of doing that, technically incorrect. But again, it's your art. You can do what you want. We're going to go back to drawing the highlights. I'll do these real quick. Yeah. Remember, taking note where the sun's coming from. It might be hard to see the green. I'm sorry about that. Manipulate the lines so they look good, or they look accurate to what we're looking for. I like to hit F4 to give myself some more space. F4 just hides all of your tools, and F4 brings it back as well. Highlight, 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 highlight. Yep, highlight on this boy, on this arm. Will we get highlight? We might throw a little bit of highlight just there. Okay, now F4, bucket, that one. Now we're going to go a lighter gray. Whoops, whoa. Slow down, partner. So we chose to color in this guy with this sort of gray. Now you can color pick something lighter. We can even go, a red, a light pink. It doesn't really matter. Something to make a contrast of, there's no highlights on the teeth, I guess. We are just coloring in anything that is just a mid-tone. All right, so hit I. We can even draw a key. We can say shading, shade, mid, and then it's probably a bad idea. Let's go like a darker, yeah. This will make more sense when I get it done. Then we'll go to like a light orange. You don't have to use colors. You can just use white, gray, and dark gray. And we'll call this one light. There we go. Keep it simple. Light, mid, dark. We've got to color in the lights. Click and drag, color in. Anything that is a highlight will be yellow. At this stage, I have just deliberately chosen colors that do progressively get darker. It could literally be a blue. It doesn't really matter. For your dark color, drag all these over just to give you an idea. It's whatever you want. I made it whoopsie there, but we'll fix it in a sec. Delete that. Okay, cool. We're going to zoom out. Now, Control A, lines, remove, and deselect. Control Shift A. Hooray! Oops, hit the wrong button. Hooray! That is kind of the essence of a character that is shaded. Not colored, not to the color we desire, but it's a shaded character. Now, if we double select the outside of the character, or we should just use the lasso tool, hit L, select him like that, Control C, then we'll go into our next frame. For example, Control Shift V, paste him right in the same spot. You can see the difference in the character. Now, because we basically colored our character originally, we can actually steal the colors because we kind of like that red, didn't we? All right, so let's click the red and color in all the parts that are red on the mids. This will be our mids. Now we'll choose a light version of our red. So we'll go up here. We can change the color a little bit. Let's go like a nice sort of pink. So that part, that part, that part, that part, that part. Be very careful. If you misclick, it's okay. You can press Control Z, like whoops. If you're having trouble coloring, make sure to zoom in. Makes it a lot more easier. But we all make the occasional mistake. And now we'll go back to the red color and we want to make it darker. I feel like I've gone the wrong direction with this. What I'll do is I'll do this color for the dark because I like that combination. But I'm going to change the highlight because I just generally hate that pink. I should have gone in the opposite direction and made it more orangey than, more orange than pink for the highlight. That's just a personal preference. Okay, the eye color, we want them to be yellow. Same with the teeth. Yep. And then we'll go down to the orange a little bit, make it a little bit darker. Throw that in, throw that in. That's already a pretty good highlight for yellow, but we can make it even more over the top. Same with the pupils for the eyes. And then the horns, midsection, remember, make it darker. Bang, bang. And then lighter. Bang, bang. Zoom out. Huzzah, look at that compared to that. You can see he's got so much more dynamic range and he's just a flat, boring old delete. And there you have it. That's it. That is it. That's everything. Congratulations. You can now draw Stickman and you can now draw actual characters and color them in. we're going to get into animation in the next lesson. I think I'll break it down into animating a stick man and then animating a full-bodied character in 2 separate lessons. I think that's the way to go about it. Maybe. Nah, I don't know. I think what I'll do is I'll go and explain the animation process. It might be a bouncing ball. It might just be just animating, just being able to make things move, just being able to see how the timeline works. This is my timeline right now. Makes no sense, right? But in the next lesson, it will. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Again, if you are new to the animation course, please go join the Discord channel. Link is in the description or up on the screen right now. There is channels in the Discord where you can ask questions about specific lessons. And I've already had a bunch of people run into a bunch of problems. They've even uploaded screenshots and video grabs and stuff like that. And I have a 100% hit rate for helping them out with their problems. So far, so good. There is no problem that I cannot solve, and I'm doing it free, not charging anyone. Maybe down the line, I might be doing one-on-one lessons for those that are interested. Maybe. It's a matter of time, and I don't know. If that's something you're interested in, please let me know down below. Please, if you're enjoying these lessons, let me know. I need to hear the feedback, and I need to know what you are looking to learn in the animation lessons. I'm just covering the basics right now, but the lessons will become more and more niche as we move forward. So, specifics. Sam, how do you animate fire? Sam, how do you animate electricity? Sam, how do you animate a guy doing a slow poopy and the poop turns from solid into liquid and drips from his butthole? Again, it's up to you what you want to learn. Hey, that's your idea. That's not my idea, but I can teach you that if that is what you're into. All right, I love you. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Like, comment, subscribe. Bleh.